Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to Kaur and Singh Vaad Vivaad, a one-of-a-kind Sikh youth debate show. Presented in collaboration with Nishkam TV and Just Punjabi. I am your host, Ashmita. In this curtain raiser episode, we will share the vision behind Kaur and Singh Vaad Vivaad. We'll take you behind the scenes into the origin of the idea. We'll share why debate is a legacy of Sikhi, one we are reviving with today's youth. A movement where Gurmat meets critical thinking, where transformation meets tradition, and where Sikh youth are stepping into what they were always meant to do, speak truth with Nimrata. The stage is Vaad Vivaad, named after our own Sikh tradition of vichar, of respectful disagreement, of seeking truth through dialogue. The show is about reviving a lost art. So come with us. Let's hear how it all began.
I am lucky to be born into the Sikh community. Our Gurus has blessed us with so much, such a great, rich literature, Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. But somehow I feel that we as a Sikh community, we do a lot of great things, like we do Naam Simran. Most of us do Nitnem every day. We go to Gurdwara, we do Langar Seva. But one thing I felt that what we are missing as a community is the concept of vichar.
Sikhs have always been intellectual warriors, deeply rooted in Vaad Vivaad, which means deliberation, and Gurmat-inspired dialogue. Yet, for too long, we have let others tell our stories, whether in news, cinema, or academia. And that's exactly why Kaur and Singh Vaad Vivaad exists. It's an extension of that mission.
Guru Nanak Sahib has given us when he says Vidya Vichari Ta Parupkari, that your knowledge can only benefit you, if you really reflect on it, if you really act on it. And also our Guru's Arjan Pasha is saying, that thal vich din vastu payo sat santokh vicharo. So vichar is a critical element from that Guru Sahib has given us over a period of time. It's somehow getting eliminated from our community, from our discussions. So that's why we want to teach our kids about the Sikh history and then bring up the hot button issues and let them figure out that there are multiple viewpoints. And sometimes all multiple viewpoints are valid.
I negate the resolution. A Gurdwara is a place of worship.
This is not just a debate show. It's about preparing young Sikhs to think critically, speak with conviction, and stand for their values. And what makes it even more special is that this show is truly by the youth, for the youth.
My name is Azman Singh. I was part of the core team that kind of helped come up with the curriculum for Vaad Vivaad, and I'm one of the coaches who kind of led the students throughout the semester. We have a lot of Sikh activities for the youth. I think there's Punjabi schools for kids before they head off to college, for middle schoolers. I think there's a lot of camps out there for Sikh youth. I think one big gap is that Sikh kids will go to college and they'll learn, all these concepts in college, philosophy, advanced concepts, and they kind of, Sikhi is just this thing that they did when they were kids. And debate is something I did consistently throughout high school and college, and it's something that really taught me. It's just helped me in my professional life and personal life a lot. And it's one of those things that I think if you learn how to debate, learning that process of structured, formalized debate can just help you kind of integrate your Sikh knowledge with general intellectual growth as you get older.
So Guru Nanak Sahib started the Siddh Gosht, and he starts with the Shabad Vidya Vichari Ta Parupkari. So Guru Nanak established that tradition of debate, doing a debate in a proper way. And then Guru Gobind Singh took it to further level when he when he had in his court 52 or even more scholars who wrote on different topics.
So Vaad Vivaad is at the very heart of Sikhi. The Sikh gurus engaged in debates with scholars of their time, not to win with arguments, but to seek the truth. This show is about reviewing that tradition.
So this format was used by Abraham Lincoln. That's why it's called the name Lincoln Douglas. Back in the 1800s in America, when he had some debates about morality at the time, moral issues within America. As Sikhs, we all want to do what's best for Sikhi, but Sikhi comes in many ways. There's many frameworks with which to evaluate one Sikhi. Do you evaluate one Sikhi based on how much Path they do, how much Seva they do? So it's about which framework you pick and which evidence you pick to pick that framework. And I think that's what the kids learn, is that you can pick certain arguments are better for certain frameworks.
First, that was changing the narrative around debate, right? It should not be this emotional, theatrical fight, and instead it should be intellectual, exchange of ideas and learning from one another. And so really changing the narrative around how our community in particular views debate. The second long-term vision is making this self-sustainable. So right now, Azman and I are lucky enough to serve as coaches.
This show wouldn't have been possible without the vision of Penny Sandhu, the CEO of Just TV. When we first discussed this idea, Just TV immediately understood the importance of amplifying Sikh voices in mainstream media. Their global reach allows this show to be seen not just by the Sikh community, but by a worldwide audience. This partnership is a testament to what happens when our community comes together. So Nishkam TV brought the training, the youth, and the vision, while Just TV provided the platform, the production expertise, and the belief that this show could reach a much bigger audience.
My role is kind of coordinate everything, meet with people, get students engaged. Students who applied for this thing, get their registrations, and then set up the calls, talk to them, talk to parents, any information they need, back and forth communication with it, and then and also with the coaches.
So the first principle that we outline in the Constitution is this idea of Sat, or truth. And debate in practice and in theory is about getting closer to the truth. And Azman and I were super particular about saying we don't have all the answers, right? But debate is a vehicle for us to sharpen our ideas and clarify our understanding. And at the end of the day, we want these debates to allow our students to get closer with Sikh history, Sikh theology, Sikh culture, and dig a little bit deeper. And I think Sat has sort of been that lodestar for all of us.
You've now seen how Vaad Vivaad isn't just rooted in the present, it's grounded in a Sikh legacy of vichar, the art of seeking truth through respectful dialogue. But as we move forward, you'll also begin to see something deeper shaping this journey. Don't go anywhere. The journey continues after this short break. Welcome back. You're watching Kaur and Singh Vaad Vivaad, a Sikh youth debate program brought to you exclusively on Just Punjabi. In this special curtain raiser episode, we're taking you behind the scenes to show you how an idea became a platform for the next generation. Now that you've seen how this collaboration came to life, let's talk about how we ensured the debates would be fair, rigorous, and deeply rooted in values. Since the show is for the youth and by the youth, we knew that our judging panel had to reflect the same spirit. So our debate coaches Azman Singh and Divjot Singh didn't just train the students, they also built a team of 6 incredible judges. Judges who have had real debate experience, judges who believe in empowering Sikh youth, and judges who came forward purely for one reason: Seva. You'll even get to see what happens inside the judges' deliberation room, because at Vaad Vivaad, we believe transparency builds trust and mentorship builds leaders. Let's meet our judges.
I'm Amber Kaur, and currently I'm a senior at the University of Southern California in LA, and my major is computer science and math. And I have some experience in debate because I did Lincoln Douglas throughout high school.
My name is Gurdeep Singh Bardeng. I'm currently a senior at USC, studying computer science and computer engineering.
My name is Deshpal Singh Beniwam, and I am from Stockton, California. I recently received my PhD focusing on Sikh American history.
So my name is Nanahal Virk. I'm currently a third-year medical student down in Miami, Florida.
My name is Gunmeet Kaur, and I'm an applied scientist right now. I used to do speech and debate in high school.
Hi, my name is Tarina Ahuja. I graduated from Harvard College in the May, and I'm heading to Stanford Law this coming year. Throughout high school, I was actually able to start a speech and debate club at my school. I competed in public forum and original oratory, where I placed at nationals.
Oh, I think it's super important. Having a structured debate really forces you to take time to think, look at real evidence rather than just your own personal biases or experiences, which is usually what happens when you don't have this kind of structure in place.
I think structured debates are extremely important in developing Sikh youth leadership because when we discuss, and especially looking at Sikhi, we're supposed to have conversations with individuals and have discussions and dialogue with one another in order to really learn from one another.
The importance of structured debate for Sikh youth cannot be overstated. Our faith teaches us that courage to speak up on not just behalf of yourself, but on behalf of others is one of the most important things we can do.
So structured debates are quite important for Sikh leadership because they provide, two sides of the story, right? As we know, like apne log, our people, right? They're not really good at when it comes to debating skills. When people find something that's different from their point of view, they start fighting. Like we see it a lot in different gurdwaras, a lot of different committees, and all these different political powers within our religion.
The Lincoln Douglas debate format is a very unique format of debate because a contestant has to argue for both the affirmative and the negative side. I think in this type of debate, you're able to put your personal beliefs aside and really look at the core resolution.
I think it empowers you to see both sides of an issue, and that's something very important to see. When they are forced to argue the pro side and then later in the same day argue the negative side of an argument, they recognize they remove themselves from it. They make it less personal. They make it less of an argument and more of a discussion because they're forced to see both sides of an issue. So the three main things we like to look at are going to be clash and flow. We like to look at quality of evidence. And then the third thing is going to be the value criterion.
First of all, the clash, which kind of includes like the flow of the arguments, like how far did one opponent carry their argument through, and then also how well did they refute the other argument's claims. And then there's also the framework, which is what the whole argument is tied upon, right?
So when looking at the criteria, there's three things that we should be looking at. It's the framework, the evidence, and how everything ties together, right? Those are three critical things. As much as we all have our own biases, we gotta eliminate those biases.
Like using primary sources like Guru Granth Sahib Ji to support your arguments is viewed in the highest light, right? And then even within that, there's a hierarchy. Like in one of the deliberations we talked about how somebody used a little bit more of a general quotation from Guru Granth Sahib Ji to support their argument, whereas somebody else used one that was a little bit more specific and a lot more tailored to the situation.
So in the case, it's very important to have contentions that essentially support a value framework that helps you achieve the resolution. And in this framework, you are trying to encapsulate how to achieve that resolution or why your framework and why your case better upholds this resolution.
That's also why it's important that we were able to have the judging room and talk to one another, because I think there were many cases where we would share something different or something that one of us heard.
Oh, I have to say it adds so much to the experience because I think when you see a debate that's so interesting as all of these kids have been doing today, like all you want to do is talk about it with someone, and especially with someone else who has the same like experiences and like relative judging criteria as you, but like brings in different backgrounds.
But the second most memorable thing for me, I would say, is the judges' deliberation room. especially when it's a difficult debate for us to judge, which almost all of them have been for us because we were pretty much split in terms of the judges' decisions.
I would have to say, keeping an open mind. As humans, we're going to feel that we're going to naturally try to inject our own thoughts into, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that resonates with me. But I think the toughest part of deliberation is then just recognizing that and taking that step back.
It's quite difficult, I'm not gonna lie. Even for someone like me that sees both sides of things, I'm pretty passionate about the topics that many of the students actually had to compete for today. And sometimes in my head, while I'm debating and while I'm judging, I'm like, oh, why didn't this person say this? Or why didn't this person argue it with that?
The most challenging part was really that all of the students brought such incredible arguments. So oftentimes it really did come down to us to really carefully and meticulously look at each and every argument, each and every response, and go through the entire debate to see whose arguments carried through and whose arguments carried more weight in the way that they were describing them.
Teamwork is imperative to that. So we're a team of judges, right? We're a panel of judges. At the end of the day, we want to make sure we do right by the kids that are participating in this. Nobody felt more apprehension and anxiety than the kids who were actually flying out from different cities to come here and compete.
I think teamwork is extremely crucial for judges because for us, it's our job to really decide and make that difficult decision on which of these contestants really brought forth that skill the best.
Sometimes, we're human, right? We mess up too. We might not write out everything that the person says, right? But there's the whole reason we have 3 judges, because even if one judge might miss something, the other judge may have written it down, right?
When 2 debaters are equally strong, it's really, really hard to judge a debate. And then usually the tipping point comes down to which value framework is better upheld. So I think when it's a very close debate, you really have to focus on the key issues that really were brought up throughout the debate.
A lot of times before I enter that deliberation room, I have no idea who won. I'm like, I just saw a really strong debate from both sides. But when you start to break it down into these very isolated components, we can easily decide who is the winner and see who kind of takes the majority overall.
Not only is there the aspect of bringing these students together, teaching them how to debate, teaching them how to speak, teaching them how to really own what they're saying, even if it's not necessarily something that they knew a lot about before. That skill is irreplaceable in the world. The ability to communicate, the ability to persuade, and also the ability to empathize with both sides of an argument so that you can really meet somebody where they're at.
100%. I was just speaking to one of the contestants' fathers about that earlier today. That at its core, what this program and just debating in general teaches you is clear communication skills. And so it doesn't matter what field you want to pursue.
It helps out with building character, understanding how certain things work, understanding why certain people believe a certain way. It also it also teaches you how verbiage and word choice is also critical, because if you say the wrong word, it could completely change the entire definition of a specific word, right?
Think very clearly about you, your worth and your value. Find your communities. Find the people that are going to uplift you, that are going to continuously teach you and challenge you and help you build up your own sense of self. Take the step. Take the courageous step that scares you.
I think just be sure of yourself and also use prep time wisely. I would say I've seen a lot of debaters who they're relaxing during prep time, or they're just looking through their notes, but I'd say that's the best time where you can literally write out your speech, write out every single point you want to hammer in.
To enjoy the journey, I would say. I feel like one of the things that we get focused on is end goals. So if I could go back and just give them one piece of advice, it would be to just enjoy the ride, recognize that there's always going to be a next big thing in life, and that this moment that we're in right now is also your life. Life is not magically going to get better if you find out that you won this competition or when you find out that you get into college, because this time you're never going to get back.
A piece of advice for the younger generation, including myself, take as many chances that you get. Try something new. It doesn't matter if you do it for the first time and you don't like it, give it another shot. I think the more chances you take, the more opportunities you will have.
Vivaad, because once you understand our Guru Maharaj, all our 10 Gurus, Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, understand the history, understand the culture and everything else will come. I promise that. Like the study, the academia, everything that we know of that's part of a modern day society, they will come if you truly understand all those aspects and apply them to your life.
I think second that jumps to me is Nimrata, which we have tried to underpin all of our efforts. And that's really focused around humility, right? Making sure that, especially when we're starting something from scratch, all members of the team are adopting that mindset of humility to learn from our mistakes and strive to be better. Similarly, from a debate perspective, you need humility. You need to be a humble debater. You're never always going to be right, and you have to learn from your mistakes. Here, actively listen to what the opponent is saying, and make changes, course correct.
What a stellar panel of judges. We're stopping here for a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Next up, we meet the debaters. From idea to execution, our debate stage is set, which brings us to the reason we're all here. Our debaters. For season 1, we focused on Sikh students from the East Coast, young Kaurs and Singhs ready to explore big ideas through the lens of Gurmat and critical thinking. 22 students registered and joined an intensive 8-week training program guided by our debate coaches Azman Singh and Divjot Singh. They dove deep, learning how to craft compelling arguments, think on their feet, and challenge respectfully. All skills far beyond the stage. From that group, 14 advanced to our preliminary rounds, where they competed in live video debates under real-time pressure. And from there emerged our final 8. The most prepared, poised, and passionate students are now at the Just TV studios in New York City, ready for the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and yes, the grand finale. So who are these final 8? Let's meet our debaters.
My name is Amreen Gurm, and I am from Toms River, New Jersey, and I'm a 9th grader at Toms River High School North. I definitely see in the future, for sure, in my later years of high school and college, and even in my career, it might not always be a structured argument, but debating with other people will always come no matter where you go. And even public speaking is such an important skill to learn that I feel like everyone should know how to do, since you can do it in any aspect of life.
My name is Bakshish. I am from Grafton, Massachusetts, and I go to Grafton Public High School. As a speaker, I'd say I'm usually not as confident, so that's probably a challenge that I face, but I feel like over the course of the 8-week program, I've grown to become more confident while speaking. So.
My name is Jasjot Padam. I'm from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. I'm in 9th grade and I go to Shrewsbury High. Something that inspired me to join the Vaad Vivaad, Kaur and Singh opportunity was that I've never heard of anything like this before, and I think that being able to perform at an international level and on TV is a super cool opportunity that I could never get from anywhere else.
My name is Meher. I'm from Hopkinton, Massachusetts. I go to Hopkinton High School, and I'm in 9th grade. I learned how to be confident and that my opinion matters.
My name is Bhavit Singh. I'm a junior in high school and I go to Westfield High School. I'm from Herndon, Virginia. It changed my perspective on debating because personally I thought that you could only have one view, but now I understand that you can have both, and not only two, but you can have many different perspectives on a topic, not only what you think. Others can also influence you and change how you view something.
My name is Rohani Singh. I'm from Apex Friendship High School in Apex, North Carolina, and I'm in the 12th grade. I think what really inspired me to join was the way it was written on the website. Like the ideas, the values it presented, such as humility, the idea of Vaad Vivaad. And I think what was really cool is the emphasis on, in our Itihas, how Vaad Vivaad and discourse and debate came into play. And I didn't know about any of that. So I felt like that was like a new take on Sikhi and Sikh debate.
My name is Samir Harakiwal. I go to Shrewsbury High School and I'm from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. The 8-week training camp really changed my perspective on debating because prior to this, I thought that it would be something that was very hard and that speaking on the spot would be a challenge for me. But after the 8-week training camp, I've learned that in speaking spontaneously and speaking on the spot can help you a lot, and it's improved my skills in it.
My name is Samir Singh. I am from Hudson, Massachusetts, and go to the Advanced Math and Science Academy. I am a sophomore in high school. The 8-week program changed the way I thought about debate in the sense that it's not really all about going at each other's throats and just almost fighting with each other over the topic, but rather being able to comprehend what they're saying and to be able to articulate your thoughts better.
You'll hear a lot more from our debaters as the journey unfolds, so we'll keep it brief for now. Before we move forward, there's one more thank you we need to make. To those who believed in this show before the cameras ever rolled. Bringing a show of this scale and complexity to life takes more than just passion. It takes resources, it takes support, it takes sangat. And our sponsors stepped forward in the true spirit of seva. Our heartfelt gratitude to Singh and the Sikh Coalition, as well as other sponsors and supporters. Your support helped turn a vision into a show, an idea into impact. This isn't just about debates, it's about building something bigger than ourselves. And you helped us lay the foundation.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is Harman Singh, Executive Director of the Sikh Coalition. We're proud to support Kaur Singh Vaad Vivaad, the debate show. At the Sikh Coalition, we believe in empowering our youth, and this show encourages our youth to lead with clarity and Sikh values. We're honored to be a part of this television program. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Sat Sri Akal. I'm Karan Pogal, and I'm honored to be a sponsor of the Kaur Singh Vaad Vivaad debate show here on Nishkam Media. I believe in the power of young minds and the importance of providing our Sikh youth with platforms to learn, express, and lead. Sponsoring this show is my way of supporting our youth, empowering them to think critically, and ensuring our Sikh heritage shines bright. Join me in backing this incredible initiative, because when our kids thrive, our community thrives.
The third principle is jukti, technique, right? So now that we have Sat and Nimrata that we are running towards, jukti is all about technique. We have built this program very specifically around the fundamentals of the Lincoln-Douglas debate format. And so there are specific ways that you argue a resolution. You are affirming, you're negating. There's specific ways that you build that argument, starting from, for example, ground up from a value framework. And so the way you structure your case using contentions and evidence and claims. And so we really wanted to give these students a framework for which they could express themselves, share their ideas, and meaningfully engage one another.
And now, before we dive any deeper, let's talk about your role in this journey. Yes, you, watching at home. Because this isn't just a show where you sit back and watch. You get to be a part of the show by voting for your audience favorites amongst the debaters as the season unfolds. Here's how it's going to work. After each debate, you'll see numbers assigned to both of the debaters on your screen. All you have to do is text at our phone number provided at the bottom of the screen via WhatsApp or message for the number listed. Audience voting stays open until the end of the episode, so you've got time to think, reflect, and choose the speaker who truly made their case. And while it is our panel of expert judges who ultimately decide which debaters advance to the semifinals based on the Lincoln-Douglas debate model, your vote matters as well. Why? Because great debaters don't just persuade experts, they sway public opinion. They speak to you, the Sangat. So while you may not affect the official outcome of the bracket, you help shape the conversation. So get ready, because starting next episode, you become part of the action. Audience voting opens with our first debate in episode 2, and from there, your voice helps shape the journey. Because this show isn't just about who wins, it's about what we all learn along the way.
The fourth principle is seva. One of my favorite parts about this initiative is this is almost entirely run by volunteers. And so from the production team to the coaches to the students participating, and of course the whole community of support that is around this, including the parents. And so this initiative is really awesome in that it's almost entirely volunteer run, and we're looking forward to keeping that way going forward.
With our debaters ready to take the stage, we are just about ready to kick off. Don't you go anywhere. After the break, we will take you through the debate format for the competition. See you on the other side. Welcome back from the break. You're watching the Kaur and Singh Vaad Vivaad debate program here on Just Punjabi. Before we go, let's hear from the people who have been cheering the loudest, our parents and supporters. You'll hear what this show means to them, how they've seen their kids grow, and why a platform like Vaad Vivaad is so needed for our Kaurs and Singhs today. Let's hear what they have to say.
When Samir told us that he's going to join the Vaad Vivaad tournament, we were really proud of him. To begin with, Samir is very shy, and I thought this will be a great opportunity for him to get out of his shell and just be the actual Samir that we all know inside that he is.
We were excited about it because he really enjoyed participating in debate competition in school team. So we thought it's a good platform where he'll be able to, learn more about Sikhi while following his passion for debates.
Well, we did encourage her, but I mean, there has always been so many things on Rohani's plate. She gets involved with so many school activities. You were like, okay, one more thing, and you are in a senior year, and you have so many other things to balance. So there was a word of caution too, but we were excited, and we felt that she'll do good in the debate format because she's been doing so good in our school in a speech format.
We were very excited for him, and I'm very happy that he's being a part of what our community is, our background. We are coming from two different backgrounds, so it's very exciting for us to be that he takes part in all that.
It's been a blessing, and it's truly, I'm very thankful to Vaad Vivaad team and Nishkam TV and Just TV to give this opportunity, not to my daughter, but for our young youth. And this is a day and age for a narrative, right? So I think this is such a beautiful platform is offered to young youth, Sikh youth, for the leadership roles coming up.
So one way I've seen Samir change is usually he's a very logical person when he approaches his problems. He sometimes doesn't take the emotional aspect of, let's just take the concepts that we're talking about and debating about today for an example. He usually only looks at the logical side, and I feel like he's developed looking at both the emotional and the logical side, which has kind of helped him in his sort of speaking skills.
I'm Dr. Ganesha Kaur. I am an associate professor at Weill Cornell Medicine. I'm director of the Human Rights Impact Lab and co-medical director of the Center for Human Rights. To be able to consider both sides of an argument, consolidate it, and convey it back is what makes change. It's what takes those good ideas that people have and converts them into action. So that's how I think debate can actually further humanitarian causes.
My name is Simranjit Singh. I'm a professor of religion at Union Theological Seminary, and I'm an author. One of my books is called The Light We Give: How Sikh Wisdom Can Transform Your Life. There are a few elements of Sikh teachings and Sikh philosophy that feel very different from how our culture operates today. And a couple of those fit really nicely with the practice of debate. One of those is introspection. We live in a society that tends to move quickly and where we often distract ourselves in ways that we don't have to think about what our lives are like.
I would say Sikh youth particularly, but every young individual needs to be able to debate properly. with the world after you go to college and into a real job market, right? So you're dealing with different kind of people where you have to put across your points at work.
I definitely do see debate as the way to continue the legacy of our gurus with their teachings. As we know, Sikh means a lifelong learner, and the ability to get your point across and accept feedback from another person with grace is definitely something that is required.
Another one is through listening. We also live in a culture where we don't listen very well. And in Sikh teachings, listening is such an important practice of what we do. I mean, if you think about the tradition of Kirtan and sitting and listening to Gurbani, if you think about the emphasis on Suniya in Japji Sahib, I mean, there's so much around listening.
So my name is Dr. Sandeep Singh. This is my wife, Sandeep Kaur. We both together do seva at the Khalsa School in Oakland, New Jersey, called Sikh Academy for Gurmat Education. I think this is absolutely something that's propagating the ideas of Guru Nanak through Guru Gobind Singh in terms of how they had approached others and how they disseminated their ideas. You know, Guru Nanak Sahib's discussion or debate, if you want to call it that, with the yogis, you know, as referenced in the Siddh Gosht Bani in Guru Granth Sahib, is that of discussion.
It was a form of not debate, but at that, not Vaad Vivaad, just to listen to the point we cross and debate do the same thing. You listen to other person's perspective and also give your opinion and in a civilized manner.
But nowadays our gurdwaras, you know, unlike back then, our gurdwaras aren't a place where debate can happen. It's a place where we go for, you know, for solace, we go for Nambani, we go for Kirtan, we go for Langar, we go for community gathering, but we don't go for discourse, we don't go for debate, we don't go for learning from one another through another's perspective.
I noticed changes in his work ethic because it was like an 8-week long program with a couple of hours each week, but he spent a lot of time preparing each contention, which just showed how hardworking that he was throughout the duration of the program.
I love that question of what message would I give to young Sikh women or girls? And I think that message would be to be bold and to never let people tell you that you can't do something. When I first embarked on my career pathway, there were many people who said that you can't combine medicine and human rights work.
One thing I learned early and that my parents taught me was how to root yourself in your values. And that can be the core of who you are for the rest of your life. I mean, it can grow and it can evolve, but really if you understand who you are and the type of person you want to be, then you don't get swayed or sucked in to the confusing messages that are out there.
I think that we need to be much more encouraging and asking our kids to be able to speak their minds and to be able to question things, not just accept the fact that if we tell them that you must keep your case, if we tell them that you know, you should rise in the morning for Nityanam, if we tell them that you should ask the Guru for Amrit, we want them to ask why.
One thing I hope the audience takes away from watching this debate show is not to be scared of having hard conversations. I mean, it can feel uncomfortable to disagree with people, to talk about opinions that might not be popular or that your friend might not agree with on its face, but there's so much richness that can come through talking about different things.
I would definitely encourage Sikh parents to involve their children in initiatives like this, like the Vaad Vivaad debate. It is definitely a great exposure, it builds camaraderie, and it brings to fruition the whole point of Sangat.
Modern days production and storytelling that we can get our kids involved with, we'll be able to present to the world, you know, what Sikhi stands for, what are our values, and what we bring to this world.
The one word that can summarize this experience for me as a mother that I've been here so far is pride.
Mesmerizing.
The one word I would use to describe the entire tournament is fulfilling, because they got a lot out of it. Even if they didn't win, they made a lot of good friends and just learned a lot throughout the whole process that'll help them later on.
It was fabulous.
Empowering.
This was a great opportunity and we're very excited to be here.
I would say it's a wonderful experience. I think this has really, really enhanced his Sikhi beliefs, and what else we want, for our kids.
True sense of community. That's how I put it. So teaching the kids, even the grown-ups, to work together with the different aspects of logical thinking, problem solving, and get to a problem resolution. That's community.
My piece of advice would be to contribute to a cause greater than yourself. I think it's so easy in today's world to focus on your own needs and your own journey and your own path, but cultivating that path to do something bigger than yourself, to contribute to a cause, whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, bigger than yourself. I think that would be my advice.
And the fifth principle is that of Gyan Dhyan. And so these two words are used quite often in Gurbani, but in the context of our debate or our program, Gyan is focused on knowledge, and Dhyan is the contemplation of that knowledge. And so the spirit that we're really trying to get after here is, how do we meaningfully engage with what we are reading, right? And we have seen this firsthand from our students who identify a source or a piece of evidence that supports their argument. But it's not just enough to cite that source or cite that evidence. It's also about, how does that apply to the argument that they're making? Is there a way that they can frame it better? And even if they've read that piece of evidence or read that claim once, how can they engage more meaningfully with that example so they can really sharpen their ideas and get down to the specifics for what they like to communicate in their argument. And so this was the basis for our Constitution, and it has served us really, really well as we've gone along in this program.
And lastly, I want to give a special mention to the Just TV team, who worked tirelessly alongside the Nishkam team to produce this show that you're watching right now. Without their hard work, this would just be another debate competition. Thank you to the Just TV leadership, Kaur Sandhu, and to all of the production team members who dedicated countless hours to highlight not just the talented debaters, the expert judges and coaches, the supportive parents and organizers, but more importantly, the mission behind Vaad Vivaad, to bring an age-old tradition of vichar back to the masses. We will see you next week as we kick off the debates in the first ever season of Kaur and Singh Vaad Vivaad debate competition. Make sure to follow along on social media. And of course, you can email us directly at any time, ashmita@justbroadcasting.com or info@justbroadcasting.com. Until then, this is your host Ashmita signing off.